The Western Conference Finals series is now tied up 1-1 as the Chicago Blackhawks pulled off an exhilarating win in triple overtime against the Anaheim Ducks in Game 2 of their Western Conference Finals series. Here with me now is expert handicapper Dave Golikoff to break down his analysis for Game 3 going down Thursday evening. Dave, excellent win from the Blackhawks last night, but I'm worried about their defense. They're suffering from injuries, working in replacements, and it couldn't have come at a worse time playing the Ducks in their infinite depth at forward. Plus, they are now going into this game exhausted after the longest game played in Blackhawks history in Game 2. Do you think the Blackhawks will still be able to keep up the pace and take a win in Game 3 at Chicago, Dave?
Well, one of the reasons that I'm avoiding the side and making a total play is because of some of those questions. I think that the Ducks are a team on the rise and have proven that they definitely belong in this Western Conference final. I said that they kind of got this far because they played a couple of cupcakes, but they deserve to be here. Frederik Andersen's been fantastic. The Blackhawks definitely with issues on the blue line, and I think the bigger concern is the Ducks are rocking these guys. They're out hitting them now in both Game 1 and 2, being very physical with them, and that could wear on them as the series goes on. In terms of Game 3, I would like the Blackhawks outside of that defensive issue. The concern is, Chalmerson, Keith, Seabrook, and the fourth guy, my mind is blanking on the fourth guy. They played like 50 minutes in game number 3. And next pairing was, Kimmo Timonen and Comiskey, and they played like 18 minutes. So the Blackhawks, I think they have to eventually find more faith in that third pairing and play them a little bit more. Otherwise, they're going to get worn down. This looks like a 7-game series. I don't know that Chicago can survive a 7-game series, taking the physical punishment they are, playing those blue liners as little as they are. So I kind of do like Chicago to win the game because they're back at home, they have momentum, but those are some of the reasons why I'm not pulling the trigger on it.
All right, and the Blackhawks will have a lot of momentum playing on their home ice. They've yet to be defeated on their home ice in the playoffs. Dave, do you think the Ducks could pull off a W in their first of 2 games at Chicago tomorrow night?
Well, that's going to be the question, isn't it? I mean, I think from what I've seen in Anaheim so far this playoffs, they've been fairly consistent, but definitely weaker on the road than at home. They lost, of course, at Calgary. There was one game, not that they played poorly, but they blew that game late. Even against Winnipeg, Winnipeg's efforts in those 2 games at home were different than they were on the road. So I think that you're going to see an advantage really shift to Chicago here. Chicago's, we mentioned before, they played good on the duck pond. I think home ice advantage might be more of a factor here for Chicago. So Anaheim can win this game. They're going to have to put on the big boy pants and again show that they belong. They definitely have shown they belong so far, but now they've lost home ice advantage. They have to go on the road, as so many Stanley Cup winning teams do, and steal one of those games in a tough environment. As you mentioned, Chicago hasn't lost yet at home, but Anaheim really has to just step their game up even more. As good as they've played, the series is tied 1-1, and that's definitely a benefit to Chicago. So again, as you can tell, I'm kind of wishy-washy on the side, leaning towards Chicago. Don't necessarily like the juice, but those are just my general thoughts on the side.
All right, now, Dave, let's talk totals here. We've got a total of 220, and they've hit under that number in Game 1, which I felt was played pretty fast and loose. What do you think for this one, over or under, or is it even worth a look here, Dave?
I'm going on the over. I think that that's the best play in this game. I think the side is tough. As mentioned, you got juice on the Blackhawks, but I think Chicago does probably win. Don't want to lay that juice, though. Anaheim, on the flip side, getting them as a road dog, definitely enticing. This is a team that's played really well. I had multiple chances to win Game 2, hit so many posts, had great opportunities. But I think over is the best play in this one, and I'll tell you why. Blackhawks blue liners are going to have to get fatigued at some point. Blackhawks top line is going to have to show up at some point, Kane, Taves, and company. And 5 is a short total. I know that actually this series has definitely been an under series, both playoffs, regular season matchups, but I think 5 is too short of a number. They played a lot of hockey, so fatigue could factor. The hitting, I think Chicago could wear down. I think we're going to see more offense than what we've seen in the previous 2 games. And remember, the total's been 5 in both games. We haven't gone under in either. We haven't seen less than 5 goals in either game. So I think we'll see at least 5 goals in Game 3, and maybe even more, given the Blackhawks. I think that their offense can play a bit better, and I think their defense, their blue liners, they have a real weakness that Anaheim can exploit.
All right, once again, expert handicapper Dave Golikoff with your top selection on Game 3 of the thrilling Western Conference Final Series, Ducks versus Blackhawks. Let us know who you're backing in the game, lines you like or you don't like. Comment below, and maybe we'll feature you on the next show. And for all the best picks on the Stanley Cup playoffs, keep it locked right here with us at Sportsbook Review.